Hey, welcome back to the channel. It is time for Wars 6 and 7 of the season. Wars 6 only had 3 fights, so I thought I would save it and combine it with 7, but I didn't know 7 was going to have 8 fights in it. Fortunately, all of them are solos. We're going to jump into this quickly, and I will be fast forwarding the fights that are Magneto parrying heavy over and over. There is a lot to get to. I want a card, a 4 Loki card for performance in War 7. Can't wait to get into it. All right, let's jump straight into this with our first fight. I wanted to make sure I showed this one because it's this buff and balance power drain. And I am seeing Captain Marvel there, a lot of these cosmics that gain a lot of buffs. You can see why with the heal block passive, which I think is going to be on all of the fights in this war, just making sure you're not running suicides. That way, in case something does go wrong, you're not really overly concerned. With Doom and how much damage he can do from his heavy, that's just what I chose to do. I'm going to choose to try to bait her SP1. I find that that is a much easier evade than her SP2, and I'd rather not have to deal with the SP2 if I don't need to. And so obviously keeping that up, we're not getting too many, she's not getting very many buffs, so I'm not having to worry too much about the power drain. I do believe that pretty soon here we'll get to the SP3, or maybe the fight even just ends before it. It has been a bit of time since this war took place because of the natural break between Wars 6 and 7. But yeah, we just already finished that off. It was a rank 5 5-star. I really don't think the results would be much different against a 6-star rank 3. It just would have taken maybe a little bit longer, maybe baiting and evading one more special. Doom's just great. Doom's awesome, and taking it nice and slow and steady and using his kit well works well. Moving on, it's a very similar node here with the heal block, making sure I'm not running suicides. And then the buff and balance power drain. Not concerned about that because I've brought in Archangel. The only thing, the tip here is, she's going to start invisible. So make sure even if you land this parry, don't throw the heavy. The timing might work out fine where she comes out of it and you can land your heavy, but it's not worth it. Just go ahead, land the next parry. We've got 2 bleeds on, so I'm going to try to get the poison up. Probably another parry here, yeah. And then now we'll go in for the heavy to transfer those into some neuros. And I think this next one transfers 2 or 3. Yeah, there we go. And really this fight's over at this point. I just need to not let her hit me. It took a little too long. I was a little too hesitant on whether I was going to throw that heavy or not. I remember thinking that the 4 neuros was going to be plenty, so should I even throw it? And then once you have that, my advice on that is once you have that hesitation, don't do it. Don't do the action. Whatever the action was, is because you're probably going to be late, as you saw there. I lucked out. The worst thing would happen is she would have landed a combo and I would have survived, but it is what it is. And then we're going to fast forward this fight. I did want to just kind of show it so we can talk about it briefly if you have it. With that buff and balance, Aegon's, he's placed there because of all these Furies. Just kind of do your fight as normal, baiting the specials and then moving through it, and you'll eventually get to your Doom cycle. Make sure you do the medium, light, medium. It really is superior. I used to think maybe it wasn't, but now that I've gotten used to it since getting the advice from B Manny, I just see how much better it is. You might want to tailor it a little differently depending on some fights, but as a default Doom cycle, it is superior. So those were the 3 fights. I did decide to combine them into one video with this one. I didn't know I was going to get 8 fights in the next war, so it has created a bit longer video. I will speed a few things up. The MVPs, PWF, an excellent player. Rez, great player. And of course, Lizer, I hopefully you know her and are subscribed to her channel. Another excellent player. We ended up on the wrong side of this one. Tefili's lover played very well, and we've just been on the wrong side of some wars lately. What are you going to do? We just got to climb out of this little hole that we have got ourselves in. So, but I'm sure, I feel confident anyways, that we'll be able to do it. We'll see what happens over the final week and a half of the season. All right, so let's get to War 7. Really excited, pumped up for this one. Won a card. 8 fights, all solos. I'm really excited about them. I will be fast forwarding. I think it's 2 of them. They're Magneto fights where it's pretty much just parry heavy over and over. Not a lot to talk about. So I want to make sure we have plenty of time to talk about these fights. This is the ebb and flow knockdown versus Mojo, and then there is the power drain potential there. Talked with Big Bandy quite a bit about the strategy for this one. I was a little concerned about with Magneto's prowesses, potentially sending Mojo red. I had asked him, I said, I think I'm just going to do the parry heavy, build the SP3 and bleed, and B Manny, just being the player that he is, the knowledgeable player he is, he said, I would suggest just doing the light heavy. So you see, I'm not trying to trigger, well, I wouldn't have on that one. But you see, I'm not trying to trigger those additional extra prowesses. I want the ones that are just going to stay up there. If I can avoid triggering the prompt from Mojo, I will. I get myself not necessarily in trouble. I felt very uncontrolled there, but I did not want to stun him. But then I got back into the corner, and I felt like, it's more important to get out of the corner. So fortunately, that worked out. I'm assuming that it was the ability accuracy reduction that came in and helped me out there. Baiting his SP1, it does not hit that hard. I'm used to that from often taking Mojo fights with Magneto, and just continuing to throw the quick heavy. I am not looking to build a bunch of prowess. Now that I've gotten to the SP3, I will go ahead and do that if I remember correctly. And then you see we do have the heal block there from the Magik synergy, which is nice. I don't think it's going to come into play too much. But we were able to build a little bit more prowess there. And the key there with this fight was just staying calm when we're in the corner, knowing that his SP1 doesn't do a ton of damage, staying calm, building up the big prowess, and landing that. That worked out really well. I was very happy with that. Then we moved directly into the ebb and flow knockdown. Heavy hitter Nova. This is a little more tricky because I feel like he often comes in for that medium. So reparry can get a little difficult. And then he goes into the heavy, and you really aren't supposed to attack back into that. I was a little surprised I landed the reparry there. I don't know why, but fortunately I got my heavy off. So I'm just building a little power there, starting with the heavies. Excuse me. And at this time, I already felt like this fight was going to be just fine. I did have the indestructible boost still on, so I had the extra confidence with that. And of course, now I've triggered Doom's aura. So again, I'm just not as concerned once that's triggered in case I do get hit by heavy or something like that, or special. The fight's not going quite perfectly smoothly, but that's really not, I'm not worried. I'm up 94% to 71 here. That's just, this is why I call Doom a confidence instiller. He's awesome. So we've now moved into the Doom cycle, built up enough power. As we talked about a little bit earlier, medium, light, medium. So we go light, medium. And then that finished him off. But if it hadn't, we would throw the SP1, build us to the SP2, and so on and so forth. So coming in with this steady build up Fury, heavy hitter, and power alternator with this Mordo. Again, the heavy hitter does make things a little more difficult because I tend to bait the heavy with Mordo. That's one of my ways of trying to get an in. So I was hoping to land an intercept pretty early on in the fight. And you see, I'm pretty sure I recall that I was able to do it with a couple hits into his block and then doing a bit of a backdraft. Okay, so here we go. I'm remembering not to punish that heavy just because of the unstoppable. Then we got a nice little intercept here. And pretty much from that point, this fight is ours. We've got these, the shock retriggered there, so we could go in and heavy. He plays nice and throws a special. We both got pushed. I think that was because of the power alternator. So I think I did get a little lucky there in that I got to keep my power. I don't know if that's a bug or just what's going on there. So I did not do a good job of being mindful of that. But went in quickly, took advantage of it. Hey, I'm never going to complain, and the bug works out in my favor. You see the Doom cycle there. You see how much power we were able to steal with the SP1. And then the SP2 is going to end it. If he had thrown the SP3, it's very similar to like Mojo's SP1. Really not that concerned about it. It's not going to kill me. Trust me, there's something later in the fight that is concerning, or later in the war that was something that concerned the heck out of me. It's going to be the fight after this one, and we'll talk about that for sure. So this, they had Sentinel placed on the Vigor Indomitable lane. This is going to be pretty much a parry heavy fight. I will fast forward through it. The only advice I would give on something like this is I do feel like sometimes sometimes with the parry heavy Magneto, you can find yourself, especially if you maybe miss a parry or something like that, you can find yourself getting backed up, which unless that was your intention, is maybe not the best thing. You can see there I took a few hits or something, I missed a parry. So every once in a while in a Magneto fight like this, I will go ahead and just land a 5-hit combo to move the defender to their side of the map a little bit. I don't think it's a bad idea. I found it helpful. Mainly there's a fight against Darkhawk where sometimes it happens. I feel like he just doesn't want to throw his specials. But, you know, you're able to pretty quickly build your prowess there. We're up to 38 in this SP3. We'll kill him and we'll move on to the next and last fight on this lane. Moving into this Red Goblin with Buffet and Lionheart. I tried really hard not to trigger Buffet. I had not taken this fight before. I was not overly concerned about it. Was able to find a duel thanks to the Joanna app, and which was nice. And you can see here, I overconfidence actually has set in. It's been a long time since I've entered a fight overconfident, and it most definitely has here. So we're doing the Doom cycle. I've got my R up. So I told myself, you know, I really don't want to trigger Buffet. So even if he heavies me, I'm not that worried about it. Watching you see it happen right here. He did 2% damage. I just didn't want to trigger Buffet by dexing it. I'm so happy with myself at this point. And then watch this. The shock is going to fall off and I just completely forget about it. I go to heavy him, but the shock has fallen off. I've gotten overconfident. I wasn't even paying attention to the shock and realizing that it had fallen off. I go to heavy him, which would have sent me to my SP3. The passive stun would have stunned him, so he couldn't have thrown his. And now I've got his incinerates on me. And that does some pretty significant damage. I now believe I have about 10 seconds, maybe less, to finish 44% of him. Fortunately, this SP3 does good damage. I'm going to go in and immediately go into my Doom cycle. And then I feel like I need to build power and finish this guy off before those incinerates kill me. Fortunately, willpower healing is kicking in. I'm just trying to build to my SP3. We're very close. Got it. Throw the SP3 and finish this guy off. It felt like a mad dash. I was trying my best not to trigger Buffet, but honestly, at this point, I was just trying to get the damage in. Fortunately, I did not trigger Dex on that heavy. But you know, sometimes you make your own luck. And I think I did there a little bit. It was my fault for digging that hole in that fight. But by boosting big and just understanding the fight mechanics to begin with, I was able to save myself, which was nice. It was nice. Moving into this, I'm going to fast forward this one too, because it is more or less a parry heavy fight. Because of the strike counter, I did do, I think, a few 3-hit combos. I think there's even a medium in there. Just trying to keep a slight eye on the hit counters. You see them in the upper left, the like passive shields there of green, yellow, and orange. There's really not much to this. I think this was a rank 5. Darkhawk, I was talking about how sometimes he can hold on to his specials, go a little passive. Throw some SP1s because building all the way up to the SP3 probably just isn't going to be possible. But this is a rank 3 Magneto. He's going to do plenty of damage with the SP1s and the heavies. And then, of course, I have the passive heal block anyway. So not really too concerned with that. I had a mixture of slightly more difficult fights in this one, and then some of these just nice kind of parry heavy Magneto fights to carry through the 8. So now we're getting to the 2 fights that I was the most concerned about after the Mojo fight. The Mojo fight was the most concerning for me, and now we are at the other 2 that were most. So this has the unblockable special 1, and then it also has Footlocker. Originally Footlocker, the store in the mall. Hurt Locker. Originally I was supposed to go in with Magik, and then B-Manny and I talked about it a little bit more, and we felt like Doom was a better matchup because of alternating specials anyway. With Magik, we were thinking about maybe working in the SP1, or if I could get him against the wall doing the heavy and just sticking with the SP2. But this just felt smarter. You see, struggled a little bit there with the SP1. Got my footing though here. I don't think we're gonna have any more issues. And at this point, I'm feeling very, very confident going in. Doom, kind of starting the Doom's rotation here. I've got the shock up, throwing the SP1. So now I just want to make sure I don't throw the SP1 again. At least I want to have another special come in before I throw the SP1. Baiting the heavy, which was a tactic again that B. Manny had suggested. I'm just trying to build to my SP3 really. I was trying to land some reparries there. It just wasn't panning out, but not going to sweat it, not really going to work myself up on it. The whole point was just to get to the SP3, not that I had to necessarily reparry. Now that I've gotten to the SP3, this fight's pretty much over. This is, you know, it's kind of like with Magik once you get the power lock on. We've now got the Doom cycle going. So medium, medium, light, 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 medium, medium into the SP1. Land a nice little parry, come in for the combo. And then I believe this special 2 is going to, no, it doesn't end it. But yeah, I remember just feeling like once I made it to my SP3, I wasn't ever really that concerned. But once I made it to my SP3, I was really not concerned. And then moving into this final fight, I did put on the partial suicides. We've talked about that a little bit with Magik. Partial suicides meaning the bleed portion of it. This will amp up her damage a nice amount. It'll be noticeable. And then because I don't want to be running the poison when which could reduce the healing that I will get from Limbo. I'm pausing this because I want to point something out. Frequently when you see me take this lane, this is that enhanced power gain 100% mini. You'll see that often I will let myself get hit. And I genuinely think that that is a great, great strategy. Taters and B. Manny taught it to me a season or 2 back. I've used that very well. I'm starting with the SP1 power boost for it. But I'm beginning to rethink that strategy against Sorcerer. The idea is that even if they hit you, you're not going to die, but there's a 50% chance that you'll start in Limbo, meaning when Limbo ends, you're going to heal back all that damage anyway, and you've now gained a significant amount of power, allowing you to throw your SP2 and get that power lock on immediately. But look what can happen against Sorcerer Supreme. Let's watch this. She crits all of these, and she's got me at 46% health in 3 hits. Now, even if you add those all up and she did a 5-hit combo, yes, I would not have died. Also, I did start in Limbo, so that worked out. But I think from now on, if I'm fighting a Sorcerer Supreme, I will make sure I'm in Limbo before I do that. Otherwise, and I did talk to B. Manny and Taters about it, they both said it might be smart to just kind of play it safe, work to your SP2. You can see now that I've gotten to my SP2, this fight is mine to win. I am going to try a couple of the wake up intercepts here, and you'll see they land pretty well, but they didn't feel right. They just didn't feel right to me. I know that I know I'm a bit of a conservative Magik player, but that's just what I'm comfortable with. It's how I'm comfortable in war. And I did go for it. Like that one, the timing just didn't feel right. I was actually surprised to see it land. I thought I was a little late and gonna hit into her block. Some of this has to do with the wake up animations of the defender. And it just decided, like, why mess with this? I've won this fight. I've landed the SP2. I'm about to go 8-0. This is an incredibly, incredibly close war. Why screw around, right? So I chose not to mess with it. I'm just going to do these backdrafts into the parry and finish off the fight there. So it felt great. We were doing extremely well at this point in the war. I think we were way ahead on our own kills, but we were actually losing in the defender kills. I'm showing this because it felt this just for me was like the perfect war, and I'll explain completely at the end here. But I went 8-0. I felt like I did a really good job of being an asset to my my alliance. And I also felt like the learning I've done over the last couple of months was really starting to get put into play here. Like just the nervousness that would sometimes come into fights was pretty much completely gone. When something did go wrong, I knew how to react and respond to it because things will go wrong. And these fights were more difficult, or they were at least novel. They were new to me. They wasn't because I had taken the same 3 or 4 or 5 fights, war after war after war. These were new fights. Nodes I had never done before, opponents maybe I had never fought before, but I had enough game knowledge and was able to just pull it off. So that felt good. And then my defense got 3 kills. I used to pride myself a lot on my defense. I still do, although we pulled my Doom off for me to utilize him. So My defense isn't quite as good as it used to be, but one thing I do want to point out is this Vision Arcus. That's thanks to the Discord server, and he did get a kill. The Discord server voted for Vision Arcus to be ranked up to rank 2. He got placed on defense, and he got 1 kill. Listen to this. And that 1 kill was all it took. We won this fight, this war, by 1. I think it was 11-12 or 10-11. And then the MVPs for this war, FaZe, an amazing player, been a longtime friend of mine, going on many years. And, me, hey, it's the first time I've been the MVP. I do think the PR ratings and cards that, like I got for this war are more representative of the war performance, but the getting MVP does require a lot of heavy lifting. And this is my first MVP in 4 Loki, and it just feels natural. It feels right to be right behind FaZe. He's such a good player, and, I've been there before. It just feels right. It feels good. And then to be sandwiched with PWF, an amazing player who I referenced in the last MVPs for the last war. So far, so good. And this was a good one. And then for season stats, I have 39 kills and 1 death, and that includes a boss solo in there. So that feels great. That feels good. I feel like I'm an asset. I'm learning and contributing and having a great time with this all. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you next time. Take care. I hope you either learned something, were entertained, or even better, a little bit of both. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow on Twitter at Vega Gaming 583. Thanks so much for watching. Take care.